Hi everyone, I'm Hextasy, and today we'll be trying to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon LeafGreen using only Pokemon that I have an irrational fear of. These are the Pokemon that I would be terrified to be in the same area as, even if I think some of their designs are pretty cool. If I was offered $1 million to sit in the same room as one of them for a few minutes, I would turn them down. None of our starters give me the ick, so we'll be taking Bulbasaur as our placeholder until we catch our real starter, since our rival's Charmander team will probably be the toughest for the team I have in mind. Route 22 is where we catch our real starter, a Mankey. Yeah, pretend you didn't see that. We catch Monkey the Mankey. I've seen what real-world monkeys can do to a person or each other, and that already terrifies me. So there's no way I'm getting anywhere close to a roided up monkey with all the anger management skills of a pit bull named Cupcake. Next, we try to catch a Weedle in the Viridian Forest, but Monkey goes ape and scores a critical hit and kills it. We could try for another one at Route 2, but we need to save that for a later encounter. So we have to take on the first gym leader, Brock, with just Monkey. But he quickly sweeps his team to win us the first badge, and we head over to Mount Moon for our next encounter, Paris. Anything fungal kinda freaks me out, and knowing the mushroom on Paris turns it into a zombie when it evolves really solidifies it for me. Our HP is getting kinda low. Hopefully we catch this thing soon. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, thank heavens. Welcome to the Team Mushroom. We have a very close call against the Super Nerd at the end of the cave, and we're saved by a lucky crit, and now we can pick up our fossil. They both become something that horrifies me, but we'll be taking the Dome fossil so I can finally say I got some Dome. Next up is our fight with the second gym leader, Misty. Our level cap is pretty low right now, so we'll take her out before moving on to our rival. Mushroom quickly takes out Staryu with a couple bullet seeds, and her ace Starmie is in next. They hit us hard with the Swift, but we hit them harder with a critical hit Leech Life, and restore quite a bit of our HP. We trade hits again, and Starmie is brought into the red, and Misty heals on the next turn. A couple more attacks, and Mushroom won't be able to take much more, so we go for a Bullet Seed that hits 3 times and leaves Starmie on single-digit HP. I can't see us getting much further without Mushroom, so we switch to Mankey, hoping that we can survive 2 attacks or outspeed Starmie. Neither of which happens, and Monkey dies, followed by Mushroom, causing us to have to restart the run. We catch ourselves a new Mankey, watch them die to a Rattata, catch a Mankey that doesn't suck, succeed in catching Bee the Weedle at Viridian Forest, evolve them to a Beedrill, destroy Brock again, catch Mushroom, and that brings us back to our battle with Misty. Mushroom is once again able to beat Staryu, this time taking no damage, and knowing we can't win the endurance battle this time, we use Stun Spore to paralyze them. We get some damage off, but they use Recover to heal most of it before we switch to Bee, who takes a Water Pulse on the switch. We use Twin Needle, but it isn't enough to get the KO, and we're hit by another Water Pulse, this time leaving us confused. Not wanting to risk anything, it's back to Mushroom as they recover. Luckily, our next Leech Life is a critical hit, and Starmie can't move thanks to paralysis, so we can land one more Leech Life to take the win. Up next is our second rival fight, and we'll start with Monkey against his Pidgeotto. We go for a Rock Tomb, which misses, and then get our accuracy lowered by a Sand Attack. Our next Rock Tomb lands, but doesn't kill, and we're hit by another Sand Attack. So we need to switch out to Bee on a Gust, which does a solid amount of damage. We land a Twin Needle to KO, and Charmander is in next. We hit them below half HP with Twin Needle thanks to one of the hits critting, and then we get hit by an Ember and we're getting low on HP, so we switch out to Monkey on an Ember that scores a critical hit to wipe out nearly half of our HP. But we land a Rock Tomb to KO, and he brings out Abra next. We switch to Mushroom since Abra can do literally nothing, and they quickly sweep the rest of our rival's team to win the fight. With him beaten, we gain access to Route 24 where we can catch an Abra. where we can catch an Abra. Not because I have a secret phobia of spoon-wielding foxes, but because we'll be able to trade them for something horrifying back at Route 2. To get there, we need to head through the Diglett's Cave where we bump into a level 29 Doug trio. They have arena traps so we can't run away, and we'll have to take them out. Mushroom is able to paralyze them and just barely survive a Fury Swipes, and we switch to Monkey as they use Dig. We get lucky and Doug trio is fully paralyzed on the next turn and can't finish their attack. We then score a critical hit karate chop to KO Doug trio. We make it out of the cave and can trade the Abra for Mimian the Mr. Mime. Luckily, we won't have to go back through the cave because we can just use Abra to teleport us back to Vermilion City. The Abra we just traded. Do you see the issue here? It took me a second to. So we take the Walk of Shame and trek back through the tunnel, luckily not encountering any Doug trio this time. But we do rack up enough experience to evolve Mushroom into a Parasect. Our next stop is Route 11, where we catch Lenny the Drowsy. Drowsy is definitely a little creepy already, but when they evolve, they become nightmare fuel. Right after this, we have our third rival battle, starting with Mimian against his Pidgeotto. A couple of confusions takes it out, and Raticate is out next, so we use Reflect to halve the physical damage our team takes, causing the incoming Hyper Fang to not deal too much damage. Two confusions takes them down, and up next is Kadabra. So we switch into Lenny on a confusion, and a couple headbutts beats the spoon-wielding fox. Charmeleon is in next, so we bring out Monkey on a smokescreen. We miss a couple of rock tombs while getting our accuracy further dropped, but we finally land one, and it fails to KO, so we need to switch out. We bring in Bee, who survives an Ember, and takes out Charmeleon with a Twin Needle to win us the fight. We then spend an unreasonable amount of time doing the puzzles in Lieutenant Surge's gym, and for the actual fight, we start with Mimian against his Voltorb. Thanks to Mimian's soundproof ability, we are immune to Voltorb's Screech and Sonic Boom. We are in fact not immune to Sonic Boom, but we take them out before they get a chance to use a second one. Pikachu comes in next, and it is annihilated by a confusion, and finally, we need to deal with Raichu. We set up a light screen before getting paralyzed, and we switch to Monkey on a quick attack. We use Dig, and Raichu uses Double Team to boost their evasion, but Dig still connects for big damage. From there, Monkey just needs to survive a Shockwave and then land a Karate Chop for the win. We then blindly make our way through the rock tunnel because I didn't want to go back and get the Flash HM, and we arrive at Lavender Town where we have our fourth rival battle. Mimian takes out Pidgeotto with a couple Shockwaves, and Gyarados comes in next. And thanks to its immense special bulk, it actually survives the 4-time super effective Shockwave and retaliates with a Thrash that does quite a bit of damage, but we still manage to take them out on the next turn. Execute is in next, so we switch to Mushroom, who takes them out with a couple Leech Lives, and Charmeleon is up next. So we switch to Lenny, who softens them up with some confusions, before we bring in Monkey to finish the job with a Dig. His final Pokemon is Kadabra, but we can just switch back to Mushroom, who wins us the fight with a Leech Life. We then arrive at Celadon City, where we can grab our next Pokemon for 2,500 coins at the game corner. We don't have enough money to outright buy all the coins, so we'll have to gamble for a bit. Yeah, okay, this isn't working. We'll just continue the game and come back to this later. While beating up random trainers for money, Monkey evolves into a Primeape, and Lenny evolves into a Predator. The fight with the fourth gym leader, Erica, is up next, and we start with Mimian against her Victory Bell. They survive a confusion and land a Stun Spore, which allows them to get a couple more attacks in before we can finally beat them. Tangela is up next, so we switch to Bee and begin to spam Rage while they spam Constrict. Rage allows our attack stat to rise up to its max, and we take out Tangela with a Twin Needle. Her final Pokemon is Vileplume, but they go down to an Aerial Ace to win us the fight. Our first Giovanni fight is next, and we have Mushroom take out his first 2 Pokemon with a single attack each, and then put his Kangaskhan to sleep with Spore. We can then bring out Monkey, who karate chops the sleeping mother until we can win the fight. We make our way through the Pokemon Tower next, where we need to take care of some more Rocket Grunts. B's Aerial Ace leaves a Zubat with 1 HP, and then they get confused by Supersonic. We hit ourselves Confusion, and then the Zubat lands a critical hit wing attack to kill B. Well, that's a very unfortunate series of events that could have been avoided if I had just switched Pokemon. Luckily, Mimian can finish off the rest of the Rocket Grunts, and we finally have enough money to buy our new Pokemon back at the Celadon Game Corner, a Pinsir named Big Bug. We then take out the Snorlax below Lavender Town so we can obtain the Super Rod, and then at Route 6 we can fish up a Poliwag. And once they evolve, we can trade them for Zinx the Jinx at Cerulean City. Take one look at this abomination and it should be immediately obvious why I don't want to be anywhere near it. Taking out the Snorlax also gives us access to Route 15, where we can get another encounter, a Venonat named Moth, since moths really heebie-my-jeebies. We head to the Safari Zone next and accidentally catch a Doduo instead of running away, but that's okay because despite not having any wings, we can use it to fly across the region instead of walking everywhere like a chump. Afterwards, we evolve Moth into a Venomoth and take on the 5th rival fight. We bring out Zinx to take out his Pidgeot with a Nice Beam, and then he brings out Gyarados. We switch to Mimian on a Dragon Rage and then land a Shockwave that doesn't KO, and we're hit by another Dragon Rage before we can finish them off. Charizard is in next, and we switch to Monkey, who is hit by a Flamethrower that takes out half of their HP. But Monkey outspeeds them and takes them out with a Rock Tomb. Execute is out next, so we switch to Lenny, who can then sweep the rest of his team with Shadow Ball with little trouble even after being paralyzed. The second Giovanni fight is up next, and Mimian can one-shot his first 2 Pokemon with Psybeam, and the rest of his team is cleaned up by Monkey. As a reward for beating him, we can get Lapras, who reminds me of the first time I played Super Mario 64, and Dory, the Plesiosaur at the bottom of the Hazy Maze Cave, scared the snot out of me because I was an idiot 3-year-old that couldn't read the sign that said they were friendly. But they don't scare me now, so we won't be using them. Anyways, Koga, the 5th gym leader, is up next, and Mimian one-shots his Coughing. Muck comes in and survives a Psybeam and then uses Minimize. So our next Psybeam misses and they land a Sludge that poisons us. The next Psybeam lands to take them out, and the Coughing that follows also goes down in one shot. Mimian levels up and learns Psychic, which has enough power to KO his Weezing to win the fight. The 6th gym leader, Sabrina, is up next, but all of her Pokemon get taken out by a single attack by Lenny. We can now fly back to Pallet Town because going through the Seafoam Islands is for chumps, and we can go to the lab to finally revive our fossil after cornering the scientist that keeps running away from us. We add Kabuto to the team and name them Isopod because it reminds me of the picture of that one girl cradling the giant Isopod, and it really gives me the ick. Luckily, I question if Kabuto and its evolution actually are isopods, and I look it up and find out they're actually based on horseshoe crabs, which are, in fact, not isopods. So we rename them to Horseshoe before they evolve, and the newly evolved Horseshoe annihilates Blaine to earn us the 7th gym badge. And then Zinx does the same to Giovanni to win the final badge. The 6th rival fight is next, and Zinx is able to easily beat his Pidgeot and the Rhyhorn that comes after. Charizard is in next, so we switch to Horseshoe on a Slash that barely hurts us. We're then hit by a Flamethrower that leaves us with a burn, but we were holding the Rost Berry, which cures it, and we can land a Rock Slide for the one-hit KO. Execute is in next, so we switch to Lenny, who gets paralyzed and takes some damage before they can crack the egg with a Shadow Ball. Gyarados comes in next, and it lanes a Leer to drop our defense before we get fully paralyzed and can't move. We're hit by another Leer, but then use Thunder Wave to paralyze them. We switch to Mimian as Gyarados uses Rain Dance, and then land a Thunderbolt for the KO. His final Pokemon is Alakazam, and we set up a light screen before switching to Big Bug to weaken them up a bit, and then bringing out Zinx to finish them off. We make our way through Victory Road to take on the Elite Four, and I decide to keep the level cap up until this point at 54, the same as Lorelei's Ace for a little added challenge. And our final team will be Mimian the Mr. Mime, Monkey the Primeape, Zinx the Jinx, Big Bug the Pinsir, Horseshoe the Kabutops, and Lenny the Hypno, the exact team we've been using for the last couple gyms, so let's get to it. First up is Lorelei, and we start with Mimian against her Dugong. We outspeed and land a Thunderbolt to take out more than half of its HP, and then they use Safeguard before going down to a second Thunderbolt. Her Lapras is up next, and we use Light Screen, which cuts the damage we take from the incoming Surf. Thunderbolt removes just under half of their HP, and we get hit by a Confuse Ray. So we switch to Monkey on another Surf, and then take out Lapras with a Brick Break. Slowbro is in next, so we switch to Lenny as they use Amnesia. We begin spamming Shadow Ball while they spam out Surfs, and Lenny quickly comes out on top. Cloyster is in next, and it uses Protect as we switch back to Mimian, who takes it out with a single Thunderbolt on the next turn. Lorelei's final Pokemon is Jinx, and our Thunderbolt doesn't do too much damage, and it puts Mimian to sleep with a Lovely Kiss. So we switch to Horseshoe as it uses Attract, and they can't move the turn after and takes an Ice Punch to the face, but we can then land a Rock Slide on the next turn for the KO to win the fight. Bruno is up next, and we start with Zinx against his Onix, which goes down to a single Water Pulse. Hitmonchan comes in just to get destroyed by a Psychic. His second Onix is annihilated by an Ice Beam. Machamp comes in next, and a Psychic takes them down to 1 HP. And they land a Cross Chop to kill Zinx. Amazing. We bring out Mimian to finish off Machamp, and Bruno won't stop spamming full restores, but they eventually go down. His final Pokemon is Hitmonlee, and a Psychic takes them down to win the fight. Agatha is next, and while she starts with Gengar, we bring out Lenny. Gengar has pathetic physical stats, and all Ghost-type moves in Gen 3 are physical, so this should be easy. Gengar lands a Shadow Punch that does more damage than I expected, and we land a Shadow Ball that does much less damage than I expected. Gengar uses Double Team, which makes our next Shadow Ball miss, and then they land a Shadow Punch that brings Lenny down to just 4 HP before we miss another Shadow Ball. I decide we need a safe switch to Mimian, so we let Lenny go down to one more Shadow Punch, and then we bring in Mimian, who proceeds to outspeed and one-hit KO all of Agatha's Pokemon with Psychic. I kinda wish I just started with him. Next up is our battle with Lance. He starts with Gyarados, and we bring out Mimian, who scores a one-hit KO with Thunderbolt. Aerodactyl comes in next and outspeeds us to land a Wing Attack. That takes out a bit over a third of our HP, before we land a Thunderbolt to bring them well below half HP. Aerodactyl then uses Hyper Beam, and Mimian survives off of 1 HP, and then takes out Aerodactyl with one more Thunderbolt. Lance's Ace Dragonite is up next, so we switch to Big Bug as they use Outrage to take out over half of our HP. We land a return for little damage, and the Outrage continues and kills Big Bug. We bring Horseshoe in as the Dragonite becomes confused, and we land a Rock Slide that just misses the KO before Dragonite uses Safeguard. Their Citrus Berry brings them out of healing range, and we can take them out with one more Rock Slide. Dragonair is up next, but it goes down to a critical hit Rock Slide, and Lance brings out a second Dragonair. Our Rock Slide misses, and we're hit by a Dragon Rage. Our second Rock Slide hits and deals a solid amount of damage before his second Dragon Rage brings us down to 69 HP. Nice. Just in case we miss again, we switch to Monkey, who wins the fight with the Brick Break. All that's left is the final battle with Champion Asshat, and with only 3 Pokemon left, this will be a tough one. He starts with Pidgeot, and we bring out Mimian. Our Thunderbolt does quite a bit of damage, and they retaliate with an Aerial Ace for over a third of our HP. One more Thunderbolt takes them out, and Gyarados is in next. They survive a Thunderbolt with little HP before landing a Dragon Rage. They use a full Restore on Gyarados, but the next Thunderbolt gets a better damage roll and takes out Gyarados. Charizard is in next, so we switch to Horseshoe on a Fire Blast that leaves them with a burn. Luckily, they had the Lumberry, which instantly cures us. Another Fire Blast brings us to half HP, and then we miss a Rock Slide. No biggie, we can just tank one more attack and land it on the next turn. Charizard goes for Fire Blast, and it's a critical hit, and Horseshoe is dead. Mimian is back in, and Thunderbolt takes out half of their HP before they use a Fire Blast and scores another critical hit to kill Mimian. I'm sure that crit was necessary. All we have left is Monkey, who gets hit hard by a Fire Blast, and is also burned, by the way. The attack drop stops Rock Tomb from taking out Charizard, but the speed drop allows Monkey to move first on the next turn, and land a second Rock Tomb to take out Charizard. Alakazam comes in next, but Monkey dies the second they see them, causing us to lose the fight and the run. I'll probably be entering the Elite Four at a higher level next time I try a Gen 3 game. Anyways, join me next time when I try to beat Scarlet using only Pokemon I want to punt off of a bridge. I'm gonna go throw my totally real Game Boy into a lake now, and thanks for watching.